Hello, you incredible human beings. It's James Cant here. And this video is for you if you're a sales rep and you think that your energy levels, your anxiety, or even your brain function and focus is potentially holding you back from making more money, from cashing those 20, 30, 40, 50K, commission months. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how you can go from feeling held back by your energy, your stress and anxiety, or your brain function to being able to function at your peak 24/7, 365. I've done this multiple times now. I myself was a rep for many, many years. Closed close to $10 million in sales personally. And on top of that too, I've also worked with a lot of really, really high level organizations, one of which being Sales Sniper. They're an absolutely phenomenal sales coaching and sales organization. They have some of the best reps in the world. And you've probably heard of them by now. If you haven't, go look them up. They're absolutely fantastic. But we've done a lot of coaching with them from the owners, James Sackle, Matt Ryder, Jeremy Miner, all the way through their whole organization. And what I'm going to show you in this video is exactly what we do for them and how we get them to perform at their peak 24/7, 365. And by now, you've probably tried a lot of things to upskill and get better, because sales guys are hustlers, right? Like, you don't muck around, you don't hesitate, you just go crack straight on in. And so you've probably tried upskilling, you've probably tried doing sales education and courses, which are absolutely incredible if you can implement the information that you've been taught. And what I mean by this is you can learn all of the tactics, all the objection handling, all the hooks, the frames, the anchors, the scripts, everything that you want. You can learn all that, but if you can't implement it on a call, it's not going to work well. That's the big difference between the best sales reps in the world and those who are not so good, is the way that they execute and implement it. If you listen to some of the calls from these guys who are absolutely crushing it, if you watch them in action and how they sell, they're confident, they're energetic, but calm. They don't have stress. They are totally anxiety proof, and they are 100% resilient, even in stressful, high pressure situations. If you can't have that, you're not going to close deals, and you're not going to be a well-paid sales rep, and you're not going to be cashing the commissions that you want. Simple as that. Or you've probably tried around and jumped around from different offers and trying to work with different organizations and always shifting the side on which you're working, trying to get better leads, trying to get more leads, more lead flow, more lead volume. Yeah, sure, those things definitely matter. But in the end of the day, the main thing that limits most reps is the fact that you're not performing as well as what you should, because you're not showing up with the energy, the charisma, the confidence, or the aura that you really want to be in. We all know it. Every single person knows that the more confident that you are, the more calm you are, the more successful you're going to be as a closer. And I've seen some guys who've had absolutely terrible scripts, terrible knowledge of the fundamentals of sales, and yet they make really, really good commissions just because they are so confident, so charismatic, their energy is so well leveled. They are just somebody that is really, really easy to buy from. And I think you know what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run you through a series of steps that you can take, which are very, very simple and very, very easy to make it so that you can fix your energy levels, so you can beat your anxiety and control your stress and make sure that your brain is functioning at 110%, 24/7, 365. And I'm just going to switch over to the iPad, so join me in there. So what I'm going to run you through is something that has been really, really helpful for me and for many, many, many other people. We've coached about 7,000 people today, and it's going to be a total game changer. So if you want to boost energy, if you want to fix anxiety or stress, or if you want to increase your brain function, and when I'm talking about brain function, like your ability to focus, your ability to listen in on a call, your ability to learn, all these things, every single one of these is controlled by something that we call the nervous system. And what I mean by the nervous system is this. So if we go through, and I'm going to draw a terrible diagram right now. So this is your brain. Imagine this is your brain. Within your brain, you have this little system in here, which is called the amygdala. Now, I'm not going to get too sciencey on you, so just stay with me. This is all going to be worth it in the end. But the amygdala controls our stress response within our body. Now, have you ever been about to take a really big call before, or you've been in a high pressure situation and your palms start getting sweaty, your mind starts racing, and you start feeling anxious? It's like your heart, your chest starts beating. What's happening there is this little center, the amygdala, is starting to sense a threat. Is starting to sense that something's going wrong. And the function of this amygdala is really the key differentiator between the people who are the best performing sales reps in the world and the people who are not the best. See, if this amygdala takes over and makes your palms sweaty, makes you shake, makes your voice quiver, makes your heart race, makes your brain race, what ends up happening is we get a reduction in focus. We get a short-term boost in energy, which then results in a long-term slump, right? That's really crucial. Short-term versus long-term. And then at the same time, gives you an increase in anxiety and stress. We don't want this at all, because whenever we're closing a sale, in order to get the deal done and get it over the line, we need to have confidence. I'll put it to you this way. If you're talking to somebody on the other end of a phone or the other end of a meeting, other end of a table, and their voice is quivering and they're nervous and they're anxious, what's your first response? It's like, there's something wrong. I shouldn't go ahead with this deal. And this is how so many reps lose deals over and over and over and again. I can't tell you how many call reviews I've done where someone has just screwed up just because they're getting really stressed out and really anxious and because their energy isn't right. So what we need to do is we need to fix that. So how do we fix that? That's a really, really fantastic question. So what I'm going to do here is we just want to go down a little bit further and understand a little bit more about what's happening. Whenever this amygdala gets activated, I'm just going to bring this down here. We also get an increase in a certain set of hormones, or a change in a certain set of hormones. We get an increase in cortisol and we get a reduction in testosterone, particularly in men, right? And this happens over time. When these two are paired up and long-term happens, and occurs long-term, we get a reduction in confidence and we get a reduction in charisma, and we also get an increase in stress. Is this making sense now? How this is all playing in together? We need to make sure that we're looking after our amygdala and looking after our nervous system and keeping ourselves in a state where we are functioning at our peak. So what is that state? Well, the body has two different settings, right? We have something we call fight or flight, or F or F, or the other one is rest and digest. Not research and development, rest and digest. These are the two options that your body has. Now, for those of you guys who are a little bit more scientific, we have this one over here, which is called not parasympathetic. This one is called sympathetic, and the other side is called parasympathetic. You may have heard of these terms before. Now, what happens is whenever we get an activation of the sympathetic nervous system, our body invokes a stress response. Whenever we get the parasympathetic nervous system activated, it reduces that stress response. See, sales isn't always just a game of who has the best scripts or who has the best technical knowledge. A lot of the time it is who has the best nervous system. He who has the best nervous system wins. Now, if you're stuck constantly in a state of being in this, of being sympathetic, and you're always just trapped in here, give me one sec. If you're always trapped in this sympathetic state, you're always going to be more anxious. You're going to have less energy long-term. You're not going to sleep as well. You're not going to recover as well. You're not going to be confident within yourself, and you're going to lose a whole heap of sales. And even the sales that you do get, they're going to be a real grind because people just don't trust you as well. Whenever you're in the parasympathetic state, you're in the goldilocks zone. This is where you're calm. This is where you're cool. This is where you're collected. And this is what builds trust. And as we all know, trust is something really, really important whenever we want to make a sale. If the prospect sees you quivering, nervous, anxious, low in energy, they're not going to want to buy from you. Simple as that. So how do we spend more time in rest and digest and R&D in the parasympathetic state and less time in the fight or flight? Really good question. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we're optimizing our sleep. Most sales reps don't sleep well at all. Why? Because we're stressed, because our mind is racing all the time. We're constantly thinking about, how am I going to make these sales? How am I going to hit my projections, hit my targets? How am I going to do the things that I feel like that I need to do in order to make the money that I want to make? And on top of this too, if you look at the culture within closing, we often smash energy drinks. I mean, there's the old saying, coffee is for closers, right? If you've seen Glengarry Glen Ross. Whenever we're in this sales environment, we're always hyper stressing. We're always putting more caffeine into our body, more stimulants. A lot of guys get stuck into cocaine and drugs and dexamphetamines and Adderall and all these sorts of things. And so our sleep suffers. The thing that happens is when our sleep suffers, we shift immediately into the fight or flight, the sympathetic state, and we shift out of rest and digest, and we're burning our trust really quickly. The second thing that we need to do is we need to breathe well. And I know this sounds really weird. You're like, James, I've made it this far with breathing. Clearly, I can't be doing it that bad. Well, the way that we breathe actually impacts whether we stay in rest and digest or fight or flight. So we need to make sure that we're breathing optimally in order to stay in the right state. Because if we don't breathe correctly, this little thing up here, remember this amygdala? I'm going to bring you back up here. I'm going to color this one purple. What's that? Blue. All right. This little puppy up here, Whenever we don't breathe well, it starts sensing that things are wrong because the amygdala and our breath and our stress receptors are all very intricately related. Okay, so we're going to come back down here again. And the third thing is making sure that we're reducing inflammation. Now, I'm not going to try and get too fancy here, but I assume that we all know what inflammation is. Inflammation is the body's response to damage. And what happens is whenever we get an increase in inflammation, we get an increase in cortisol. Whenever we get an increase in cortisol, we get an increase in a stress response, which shifts us further into the fight or flight state and takes us out of rest and digest. Does that make sense? What we need to do is we need to nail all three of these things: improve our sleep, improve our breathing, and improve our inflammation throughout our body. If we can nail all of these as a start, it's really, really good. And you're going to notice a dramatic improvement. If you can do all three of these things, what will happen? You'll get an increase in energy. You'll get an increase in confidence. You'll get a subsequent decrease in anxiety and stress. And you'll get an increase in your ability to focus and think. It's pretty simple, right? If you have any questions on this, by the way, feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to chat with you guys on this. So what we do is we pretty much help all of our guys to fix every single one of these things. And the way that we do it is through improving our nervous system, getting us out of a state of fight or flight and getting us into a state of rest and digest so that we are cool, calm, collected, ready to make the sale all the time, because we build immense trust with our prospects and our clients. And we also have supreme confidence, which makes them want to buy from us. I mean, wouldn't that be easy if people just wanted to buy from you all the time? And this works. We've used it on literally hundreds of different guys, including me. And it's been really, really super effective. And I'll leave you with this. If you're more confident, if you're more charismatic, if you're more calm, if you're more energetic and you're more likable on a call, do you think that you'll close better or worse? And I'll go follow on with that afterwards. If you have every single tactic in the book, every single objection handle, every single frame, anchor, the perfect script, but you're shuddering as you say it, you're not confident as you're talking, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're visibly sweating, how do you think you're going to go? Not terribly well, right? So if you want to fix all this, what I suggest you is booking a call with my team and I. You can just click in the link below and you can start filling out the application process. And what we'll do is we'll see how we can help you. We've done this with thousands of people, and this is exactly what we're going to do with you as well. It's really, really simple, and it's really, really super easy. And you normally start seeing results within the first few weeks. We've had guys go from closing, roughly 20% type thing going all the way up to 70%. And that's not like a one-off. That's like really quite regular. So if you want to be more confident, have more energy, have less stress and anxiety, and make more money because you're closing better and you're collecting way more cash on all the deals that you're doing, click the link below, fill out the application, book in a time to chat with us, and we'll see how we can help you. On that note, I'll leave you to it. Have an amazing day. I hope this has been insightful. Click the link below, fill out the application, and we'll speak to you soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got something out of it and you want to learn more, click the link below or type in High Performance Conversations with James Cant, and you'll be able to check out all the podcasts that we've done. We cover a stack of different topics, everything from getting your mojo back, overcoming anxiety, self-doubt, self-esteem, and learning from some of the industries and some of the world's top performers in both business and in health. Look forward to having you on there.